Welcome back, Shalloners. Today, we are doing a follow-up to last week's Machine Gun Kelly Megan Fox video because there have been some developments. The cringiest developments you can possibly imagine. Megan posted something gushy about MGK. Her ex-husband, Brian Austin Green, followed up with something that makes you are gonna die. I said to somebody who alerted me to this, I'm like, this makes me want to fill my vagina up with cement and never deal with men again because BAG looks like an LOSER. We're gonna talk not just about the dynamics of this relationship, which we did last week. We talked about how to tame a fuckboy. Can you change a player? So I gave you guys some practical real world tips on how to do that because I have waged several successful campaigns of terror and cruelty against fuckboys and broke them. I can break a horse, I can break a heart, I can break a fuckboy. Anyway, we're not just going to talk about their dynamics. We're going to get something out of this for ourselves. We're going to talk about how to win a breakup, how to avoid being that cringe lord like Brian Austin Green is, how to move on with dignity if maybe your ex is not acting so dignified, if they've thrown themselves into some insane new relationship and it's being rubbed in your face. But what if you're on the Megan Fox side? We're also going to talk about what to do when your ex is not really letting you move on, when he's just picking on you, knocking on your digital door, stuff like this. Sorry, I'm so itchy. I'm at a really high elevation. I'm actually in a ranch this week and there's kids outside. Yay. So that's why the setup is a little bit different, but we're still doing it. At least you've got clean Shallon, and that isn't typical ranch Shallon. I'm pretty grubby. But before we get into it, be sure to follow me on Instagram at ShallonXO. You guys weighed in on this topic, suggested it, and voted. And actually the votes were pretty split, so that's why I'm doing kind of two topics in one. Also, be sure to find me on InfStream. It's a sexy new platform that is ad-free, members only. It's $2 a month, and it's where we're talking about sex. We're talking about sexy stuff. We have a BJ tutorial up, HJ tutorial, kissing tutorial, and next week we're going to do a dirty talk workshop. I'm going to give you a literal dirty talk script and tell you how to get comfortable talking dirty in bed without laughing or just feeling like such a clown or feeling like super gross and trashy. So it's a fun place where we can talk about things that are a little too spicy for YouTube. Now, let's talk Brian Austin Green and MGK and Megan Fox. Holy shit. Thank you so much to the Shalloner who tagged me in this. I would not have seen this and my life would have been poorer for it, because to see a man humiliate himself to the level that Brian Austin Green is humiliating himself is just, it is honestly a thing of beauty. It makes me happy. Good. Brian has not done well with this breakup from the jump. Do you remember when MGK and Megan were first spotted together in, I don't know, May or something? And Brian, poor Brian. And those two have been married for 10 years, but off and on. And we did a breakdown of that relationship too, about how I think she was maybe ambivalent about it in a lot of different times. She tried to divorce him and then he got her back and they had a baby to save the marriage and blah, blah, blah. So when Megan and MGK were spotted together, Brian decides to tell the press, or who, he told somebody, but it was a direct quote. He's like, oh, they're just friends. They're just hanging out and having fun. Is there anything sadder than someone who's the last to know and who is vociferously defending a situation that he clearly has zero knowledge of? As we know, Megan and MGK are very much not just friends and very much not just casual, because they're posting all this gushy stuff. He posted last week I've waited all these eternities to find you, and his thing. And then she posted, I'm choking on my own excitement. They love their mirror selfies. They love their mirror selfies. And she's in her voice, achingly beautiful boy, my heart is yours. Knife emoji, heart emoji, knife emoji, heart emoji. Did you just slither out of Hot Topic? What is happening, girl? So she posted that. Megan posted that. And then Brian Austin Green posted a slideshow of his sons. He has 4 sons, one who's older, and then 3 with Megan, with, I just got physically ill. I got douche chills. They're all over. With the caption, achingly beautiful boys, my heart is yours. The same fucking caption. He posted the same fucking caption. if that wasn't cringe-lordy enough, people were commenting like, bro, oh my God. People just came for his neck. They're like, you have got to stop. And he responded to like every single person with the crying, laughing emoji. Like, it was so funny. Maybe he thought this was a joke. If it was, it didn't land well. And then I'm even more supportive of Megan and MGK because I'm like, shit, you were in a relationship with the dude with this like weak, whack sense of humor. Honey, get after Machine Kelly. Just get after that machine. Just do it. Brian Austin Green looks like such a cuck and such a simp. What do these words mean? My friend Christine first told me about cuck and I like forgot about it. A cuck is short for cuckold, and a cuckold is a man who likes to watch someone else fuck his wife. It's basically the worst thing you can call a man. Like, to call a man a cuck or a simp, like a simpleton, I don't know what it's short for, is not good. So file that away, ladies. File that away. And I'm like, oh my God, Brian, you look crazy. And like I said, I am actually a supporter of Megan and Machine Gun Kelly. I think they're crazy in like the same way. And they seem happy. And I know he's bad news, but I think he loves her. I don't know. I like them together. Maybe because they remind me of me. You know, every messy person who I ship, I'm like, oh, it's actually because you're just a mirror image of something I've been through. When I got out of my last serious relation, my marriage, I had a very MGK Megan Fox relationship. To say I was in love with this boy was a gross understatement. We were like fire and gasoline. We were obsessed with each other. And it was, yes, it was toxic. I mean, he became a hurt locker. And we talk about hurt lockers as people you fixate on and you imprint on them when you're at a low point emotionally, you know, and I certainly after the love of your life and that, you know, my marriage ended, that wasn't a wonderful time. And so, I mean, one thing that typified my relationship with this dude was feeling alive. I felt so alive. The highs were high. The highs were drug-like highs. When he would text me, I felt like I was on heroin. I've never done heroin, but I can imagine that it sort of feels like that. I can't imagine it felt better. Like, I remember thinking that. I'm like, I cannot conceptualize a drug would feel better than this. And the lows were devastating. One time I got so upset I had to leave work. I was the editor-in-chief of a magazine in New York City. I didn't like work at Baskin Robbins where it's like, whatever, I don't care about my job. It was bad. So I see Megan getting into this kind of relationship because probably in her marriage, even if you're in a happy marriage, the highs are not high and the lows are not low. It's very even keeled. All long-term stable relationships ostensibly are. You know, that's why we get into them. That's why we're not single, because the single life is like so up and down. So when you get that drug-like dose and you finally feel something that isn't nagging irritation, exhaustion, this shit again, you again. I've heard that story. I'm so sick of you. When you have this influx of newness and aliveness, it is like a drug. So I understand where she's coming from. You know, I think this is an overcorrection of what was probably a boring, stagnant relationship to some degree at some point. I mean, if it wasn't with Brian, she wouldn't have gotten divorced, right? So I get where she's at, and I think, you know, she'll course correct and maybe end up with someone hopefully in the middle, as we're all trying to do. So given what he's been posting, clearly Brian is not winning this breakup. And like I said, maybe he thought it was a joke. It doesn't come off as funny. It comes off as making him look like a pathetic clown, when clearly his ex-wife is thriving and living, you know, in a lot of ways her best life. So how can we avoid being a cucky ex? Oh man. It's all well and good to talk about not subtweeting, carrying yourself with dignity, blah, 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 when you're not in the middle of a breakup. Just like going on a diet is easy when you're not hungry. It's when you're confronted with this trigger, this obstacle, this emotional situation that you're like, when things start to break down. And if you're watching this video, you might be in the middle of that maelstrom. This is how you win a breakup. Business as fucking usual. Business as usual. I am an extremely sensitive person, and I would like to stay that way. And you don't see me bleed. in public. You don't see me bleed. When I was getting divorced, nobody knew it. There wasn't subtweeting. I wasn't making like drunken videos or rants or whatever. It was business as usual. And my business is different because I talk about relationships all the time. So I can probably like slip a subtweet in there and like people aren't going to know. But for most of you guys, like this is how you win. Never let them see you bleed. And I know what you're thinking. Well, he did make me bleed and I don't understand why I can't show that I'm emotional. Honey, you can feel your emotions. You can show them to your private, personal, insulated inner circle. You are not showing them to the person who hurt you. Why? He's taken enough from you already. They can take your time. They can take your dreams about the future. They can take your plans. They can take your heart. They cannot take your dignity unless you hand it to them on the way out, right? I have always been a big fan of text breakups. Text breakups. I'm not great in person. I'm emotional. But if someone wants to break up with me over text, I'm like, okay, I see how you feel. Bye. I can make it look like I don't care. I can craft my response and I can craft the persona that is advantageous to me emotionally. But why is that advantageous? You might be thinking. Again, it's like, no, I need him to know what he did. I get that. I fully get that. But we have to ask ourselves, our behavior at this juncture is crucially determined by whether or not this relationship is broken beyond repair. If you're dealing with a fuckboy who comes in and out of your life, he ghosts you, whatever, you don't bleed. You can say, that's not acceptable behavior. No, I'm not coming over. You want to see me? You make a plan 5 days in advance like the other guys I deal with. That's not an emotional response. That's a strong woman's response. That's a bad bitch's response. And it tells him you have boundaries and you have parameters. And you're not like, when we get emotional, that lets someone know that they have control over us, right? Right? No guy gets to know that. They just don't. They just don't. So if you think this relationship has a chance of being salvaged and this is a matter of righting the ship and flipping the power dynamic and like, no, I'm not going to accept this anymore. You absolutely don't let someone see you bleed. You absolutely don't come back with an emotional response, subtweets, anything like that. You also don't swing wildly to the other side. This is very important. And post like, crazy happy party pictures. I've never been happier. I'm free. I'm posting Beyonce lyrics. That's the opposite end of the same crazy spectrum. It's the opposite end of mania, right? Of the emo spectrum. It's like you're emo or you're manic. You're not suddenly posting pics with like 10 different guys in a week. I'm just dating everyone. I'm dating around. Nope. It's business as usual. If you want someone back, which when we consider winning the breakup, a lot of times that's what that means, but we'll explore when it means something else. If you want something back, they got to think that they fully lost you. I just put this quote up on my Instagram. He can't miss what he hasn't lost, right? And if a guy sees an emotional response from you, he knows he hasn't lost you. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's apathy, right? So if you're posting like crazy subtweets or manic, I'm having the time of my life, he knows I got to her. And if I got to her now, my hooks are in her. She's not going anywhere. She's not going anywhere. I can fuck around all four corners. I can fuck wherever I want. She's still going to be waiting when I come back. Look at her. She's all twisted. This isn't going to subside overnight, right? That needs to be a grave miscalculation on his part. He needs to see that, he's going to think, you broke up and she's going to be devastated. Oh, that's interesting. Nothing's changed outwardly. Huh. No lashing out. Wait, she didn't bring it up when you ran into her? She didn't bring me up. Huh. That's interesting. Oh, she ran into my friends but she didn't text me. Why wouldn't she have texted me? Because she didn't care? Oh, fuck. She's really gone. Oh, fuck. I gotta change. But if you give that emotional response, again, there's no impetus for him to change because he doesn't think he's lost you. People need to feel the weight of their decisions. They need a big dose of what they think they want, right? You don't want to be with me? Here's what it feels like. No, I'm not going to text you. I'm not going to block you. I'm not going to unfollow you. You can mute the fuck out of somebody. I'm not going to like your photo. Like I am completely disengaged. It is 100% neutrality here on this side of the fence. But what if you don't want someone back, right? What if you're like, no, I just need to move on. This is a bad situation. I'm over it. Bleh. Same thing, baby girl. Iced them out. If you're the Megan Fox and you're trying to move on, a lot of times what we do is we let our guilt and our ego fuel our post-breakup behavior. Well, I guess like we could stay friends. Why do you want to stay friends with someone who you don't want to date? Who you have all this emotional and sexual baggage with? Do you have that with like Katie and Megan and Diane? Nope. Why? You don't sleep with them. You don't date them. They're friends, and friendship is neutral. This dynamic you have with an ex is not neutral. Okay. So you have to approach it with the goal of getting to neutrality. And that starts with your own behavior. Again, it's no subtweets. It's no this, it's no that. It's no taking the bait no matter what they do. Let them cuck the fuck out and post the subtweets and like comment on your Snapchat and blah, 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 and copy and paste your captions. I have truly, and I've seen a lot of stuff, I have truly never heard of this. It's so insane. It's so insane and awful. Brian, let them do that. Because you know what that's going to do? Give you some data. That's going to make you go, ugh, cringe and be like, I'm so thankful I'm not in this relationship. And when you see that, take that and file that away in your own little behavioral filing cabinet for when you want to do something like that. I'm just going to let him know. I'm just going to post this lyric. How is that going to look? You're going to be the Brian Austin Green. And your ex is going to look at you and be like, ugh, that's not going to go well. Let Brian be a lesson to all of us that all this subtweeting and what we think is like getting his attention and just letting him know he hurt me. It repels people. It is absolutely repellent. It is repellent. And I don't just mean your ex. You're repelling new guys too. They're seeing you while out like this and they're like, ugh, I don't want to date McKenna. She gets insane after a breakup, right? You don't want that to be your reputation. Bleed at home. Bleed at home. I'm a big home bleeder, right? I'm a free bleeder at home. Put on those playlists. Put on the footy pajamas. Cry. Drive your car out to a field and cry and cry and cry as much as you need to. Get it out. Journal. Go to therapy. Fall the fuck apart. In private. In private. It's like we have got to differentiate between public and private. And that is becoming increasingly difficult in this, hyper-connected world that we live in, where we're documenting every aspect of our life and every aspect of our day. Look at what I do for a living. Like, this is the permeability between my work persona and my real life is very, very thin. And it's very difficult for me to find the balance. And so when I have my heart broken, like guys look at my page or, if I break up with someone, like I broke up with someone a few weeks ago and I know he was stalking my page and I know he was going through every single thing that I was like saying because he was like texting me about it. Like, oh, nice quote you put up. I was like, but that has nothing to do with you. Do you understand what I do for a living? But it's difficult. It's tricky. Anyway, it's important to find this balance between public and private so that you can curate that public self for maximum impact on your relationships, but also have that pressure release valve in private where you're like, okay, I'm crying, I'm upset, I'm working through this. I'm not pretending that I'm okay to the people who really love me and really know me. And maybe that's only one person. Maybe you can only really trust your little sister to see you lose it because she's not going to interact with this dude who you just broke up with, or she's not going to post anything about it. She's going to keep it in the vault. That's really, really important. And that's something I've learned, getting older and going through stuff. It's like the breakup I went through, like we had friends in common and like my friends were saying things to his friends. And I was like, oh my God, can you, I mean, there's certain helpful and non-helpful things, but I realized I needed to keep my feelings much more close to home, much more private. And that way we can use things like social media and, our persona truly as a weapon. I don't mean in a bad way. We could do this for Evil Week, actually. Evil week's coming. Oh, it's coming. I got some good stuff. We can use it to further our objectives for manipulation. And we need to dial down the negative connotation of the word manipulation. We manipulate people all the time. It's literally a survival mechanism. Like, we have to charm, flirt, cajole, convince people to give us what we need to get our needs met. Imagine if there was no manipulation ever. I need to have sex with you. Can we make a baby? You'd be like, ew, no. What do you think flirtation is? Charm, like I said. So this can all be a positive thing. And then, like I said, we can use these social networks for that manipulation in a positive way. Your social media is a commercial for who you are, right? Commercials are very short and they are incredibly analytical. I basically concentrated in persuasion in college, and we did a ton of work on commercials, dismantling them, everything from the colors. Do you know that in a fast food commercial, when they zoom in on the burger and it's all wet and juicy, you know what that's supposed to look like? A wet vagina. For real, it's supposed to trigger this sexual lust response so that you link the feeling of sex, which is so primal, with the feeling of this burger. Wild. Nothing in a commercial is an accident, and nothing on your social media should be that much of an accident either. Don't overthink it and go berserk about it. But if you're in a situation where you've broken up with someone, now is not the time to make mistakes. You got to play this shit ice cold, okay? You got to be real careful about what you're posting. And if it's overwhelming, post nothing. Post nothing. It's fine. No one's waking up in the morning going Shallon hasn't posted today. Stephanie hasn't posted today. They're not. They're literally not. So if you take a week, 5 days, 2 week absence to get yourself together, great. That's fine. It's fewer data points to introduce for your ex to latch onto and draw conclusions about why you're still obsessed with him. Right? You could be busy. You could be on vacation. You could just not be doing anything. That's acceptable. But like I said, if you're going to post, business as usual. Business as usual. And if you don't know what that means, look at the last 5 to 10 things that you've posted. If they're mostly selfies, you need to stop doing that. 1 selfie for every 9 non-selfie photos. Why? Because if you only post yourself, the conclusion is that you only think about yourself. You only talk about yourself. You're boring and one-dimensional. Stop doing it. The best pages have a good cross-section of family, friends, travel, hobbies, pets, things you're passionate about, nature, funny stuff. It's a 360. That's what creates somebody who appears to be very diverse, very magnetic, and very complex and interesting. Who wants to talk to someone who only posts pictures of their face? I don't. I assume you have nothing to say. I assume you have absolutely nothing to say. It's the same angle, the same filter. I'm cool. You probably don't do very much. If you did, you document it. These are the facts. So just to recap, how do we win a breakup? How do we maintain that dignity? Don't let them see you bleed. Because if nothing else, if you guys get back together, they don't know how you feel about things. And now the power dynamic has shifted, right? Oh, you didn't fall apart like I thought you were going to, Shallon. That's crazy. Oh my God, maybe I don't have the hold on you that I thought I did. But if you don't get back together, even better. It's oh, I guess she's just moving on. And it's psychological truth of what we fear we create, But also what we hope we create. What our dominant thought is becomes true. If we adopt the policy, I am unbothered. You can go ahead, you can be a ridiculous person and dump me. You're never going to do better. That's fine. I'm moving on and I'm thriving. Our mind that is in a triage situation, that is inflamed and in pain and wants out of that cognitive dissonance is okay, yeah, that sounds great. I don't care. Please just don't let me stay in this pain spiral any longer. You want to say we're moving on? We're moving on. Great. We're going to do it. And then you deal with those emotional flare-ups in private. And what do we do if we're on the Megan end and we're trying to move on, but an ex is pecking at us? Ignore, ignore, ignore. If you have to mute someone, do it. If you have to block someone, do it. Don't try to be friends with him. That's your ego talking. You don't want a friend, you want a fan. If you think that he genuinely wants you back, a man will never, ever make that unequivocal. He is going to come to you with a statement, an apology. Here's how it's going to be different. Please don't leave me again. I'm never going to lose you. There's even a country song called If I Get You Back, I'll Never Have to Get You Back Again. And I was like, God, that's so true. And that's how boys think. Like, if I can get her back once, like, I'm never letting this happen again. They're going to come correct. They're not going to be like chirping you on Instagram, like Snapchatting you streaks. Like, they're not going to do that. And if that's what they're doing, they don't want you back. They want power over you still. They want to see that emotional response from you. They want to have their hooks in you because that means elasticity. That means they can do whatever they want and you're not going anywhere, right? And they are learning that all they have to do is comment on your picture, like, be one of the first people to watch your snap, call you ever so often, drunked out, whatever it might be. And that's all it takes to get the hooks in. Honey, no. For some girls, maybe. Not for shalligators. Our standards are up here. Damn, I am bruised. These horses are getting me. Our standards are higher than that. Like I said, you want to be back in my life, you come correct. If not, bye. And then you keep it moving. No matter how you slice it, no matter which side of this situation you're on, all roads lead to ice cold. It is hard. It feels inauthentic. That's okay. Healthy things often do. Diets don't feel authentic. I don't really want to eat this. I want to eat chicken wings. Well, too bad. The ends justifies the means. You're trying to get to a place that is going to make you happier than the immediacy, the immediate happiness. It's not happiness. It's indulgence and it's weakness of the decision you're going to make right now. Hunger hurts, but starving works. Like Fiona Apple said, it's not an anorexic thing. Fucking get over it. It means that like you have to play it how you want it to get where you want to be. Whether that's, I have to stay in tonight and study, guys. I'm sorry, I can't go to this party. No, I can't go shopping. I'm saving my money to go to Greece. No, I'm not eating that. No, I'm not tweeting that. No, I'm not engaging with this person. I'm dealing with things in the healthy, but at times arduous way on the back end. I want to know what you guys have to say. Have you ever seen someone cringier or cuckier than Brian Austin Green? Have you been cringier or cuckier? Be honest. We're a family here. We're in the nest. We're in the tree of trust. And have you had an ex do something worse than what Brian Austin Green is doing? Please tell me so that we can all make fun of them together. I'm so excited. Like I said, follow me on Instagram at shallonxo and head on over to Infstream for a BJ tutorial and a whole bunch of other hookup tips. I'll see you later, shalligators. Mwah!